It's the Benz Brunani womanist. Baby boys, baby girls, you need to hear this. If you sit down, receive this realness. Make sure your cup's ready for the tea, we are go sip it, yo. Hard time scrolling for your long shorts. You might learn something you never know. Collect you fine, and she's one of a kind. Don't say you're mine, say you're mine.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but my drags are so delightful. Just in case you didn't know, boom, boom, a hoe never gets cold. I thought that in my head and I just think it's genius. And, you know, I pat myself on the back for thinking up these incredible quips. Like, they make me laugh. Like, I'm such a geek in that I find myself very, very funny. So welcome to another episode of SYM, officially known as Say Your Mind and unofficially known as what? Yes, Suck Your Mum. Suck Your Mum. Yes, I'm Kelechi Okafor. And what am I going to say? I bet you're going to say it with me. I'm just really, really happy to be here. I am. It's been a tempestuous week, for want of a better term. Lots of ups and downs, and, you know, it's hard running a business. It's hard running a business because sometimes the personal overlaps with the professional, and you have to make decisions that you would rather really not make, but you know that you have to make them for the sake of your business. And I implore people don't hire friends. As weird as that might sound, I just think that it's so much harder navigating business relationships when you have to think about friendships and things like that as well, because some people are great friends but they're not great business partners or employees or employers. It's just once you enter into that sort of sphere with them, it makes things a lot more difficult. And it's different for me because, you know, I'm someone that likes order and I like structure. So I was an air cadet from when I was in high school, and I loved that being an air cadet was some of the best moments of my life. Like, I had a uniform to wear. I knew where I needed to be. I knew that there was a structure of progression. Like, we would go camping. Like, there was so much like that I was open to and I was exposed to that I wouldn't otherwise have known as like a black girl in Peckham. And the air cadets, like, big up 50F Squadron, Bop, Tulse Hill. I grew in that environment. And one thing that taught me, especially when I became a corporal, and FYI, don't big up 50F Squadron, because when I was meant to be promoted to sergeant, they promoted a Becky. Like, no, literally, her name's Becky. Like, they promoted her instead of me because she was white and blonde, and she came after me, didn't do as much as me, but obviously I saw the ting go when it comes to these kind of people, so that's fine. Anyway, when I became a corporal, I had friends that were still, cadets, like normal cadets. Like, they didn't have, they didn't have a badge or any stripes. So that's when I felt like my first, my first conflict, in that some people didn't understand that when we walk through the gates, I'm now a corporal. Like, I'm not going to take the piss out of you because I respect the badge. You know, I respect my stripes. I take the responsibility of authority very, very seriously. So I respect the role that I have, and I wouldn't want to abuse it. And that's not to say that sometimes I didn't get it wrong, because, you know, we're talking about times when I was like 15, you know, but still I had that understanding that once we walk through the gates, we're no longer buddies. I'm a corporal and you're a cadet. Like, behave yourself. And even at one point, my boyfriend at the time was a cadet and I was a corporal. And babes, like, I think you're cool and everything, but stand to attention when I'm talking to your clerks. Do you understand? It was one of those things. And luckily, he wasn't one of the people that I had issues with, but I did have issues with other people who wanted, like, it was like they were very, very reluctant to respect the role that I had within the structure that we'd found ourselves in. So, yeah. And the reason I say that is because I still find those same themes now where people think because they know you in a personal capacity and they can bust joke with you in a personal capacity, the moment it's time to do business, they don't want to switch gears. They don't want to understand that although we are friends, now we're entering into a business relationship. You need to respect the authority that I have within this business relationship. And you know, if it's not working, it's not working. So that's been one of my biggest things this week, kind of making peace with what the tarot cards have told me over and over and over again, which is that there is an ending, baby girl. There is an ending that I know that you don't want, but it's because you've completed a phase with this person and you need to, or, you know, not even just a person, but a group of people, as it were, different types of individuals. And for you to go further, you need to let them go, because the resentment will only build because they're not willing to meet you where you're at. And I think that a true friend, if you're dealing with true friends, if you're dealing with people who truly support your dream, when it moves into a business capacity, they will behave accordingly. So if you're working with someone right now that doesn't want to shift gears and it's truly necessary, then you need to go. Otherwise, what's going to happen? You're going to stall. Did you see what I did there? Comes from my driving lessons. Hey. Yeah, I still don't enjoy driving, FYI. So yeah, man, I just thought I'd share that with you all. And I hope that by now you've all seen the BBC World interview that I did, leading on from the BBC Stories twerk video that was done about me, and you know, that was wonderful. So it was exciting to be at the broadcasting house and on live TV on BBC World News, like a baby girl was on BBC World News. It took me a while to even settle on that outfit that I wore, you know. At the end of the day, I only wore like a Kalashnikov crop top, and then I wore these nice khaki kind of pants that we got, high-waisted pants that we got from Venice when we were there. We went to Mango in Venice, and that's where I picked them up, and they were really, really cute. So I wore those, and I wore my Converses, trying to keep it, you know, really low key, but serving neutrals. And, you know, so the black top with the Kalashnikov white logo could really make a statement. I did my own makeup because, you know, I was short on time, but it came out really, really well. Everything about that day flowed so nicely. Like, they sent a car to pick me up, and I was like, look at me. Wow. I have arrived. So that was wonderful to have a car. And I had a woman driver as well. Sounds so odd, but I rarely get women drivers. I know that last week Jonathan told us about his mum being an Uber driver, Auntie Gladys, but I rarely come across woman drivers. So it was nice to just be in a car with one, and it was chill. It was cool. So I went on live TV and I spoke about twerk. I have to say that the vibe, I wasn't really feeling it. The vibe was a bit icy, but I feel like I delivered what I needed to deliver. And especially when the interviewer said to me, the anchorwoman said to me, but don't you think throwing money at women is degrading because it's reminiscent of strip clubs? And I was like, so even if it is, so what? Even if it's reminiscent of strip clubs, so what? First of all, bitch, the reason we throw money is, in my culture, is because we're spraying money. So there's not throwing, we are spraying money to celebrate an event and a person. That's why we spray money. But even if we were talking about stripper culture and that money being thrown, babes, what is degrading about a woman earning her own money? I feel like in this big 2018, you motherfuckers need to start reframing the way that you think about things. At the end of the day, people like to talk down about strippers because people hate that women can in any way use their sexuality to empower themselves and use what they've got to empower themselves. And you are the one that leaves your wife and kids or your girlfriend or whatever, and you take yourself and you go to a strip club with your hard-earned money, you take it to a strip club and you start dashing it at the stripper. So wait, who is actually in the position of power? Huh? Exactly. It's the woman, because you were the one that took your money there. It's as simple as that. But people don't want to look at it like that because, oh, God forbid we ever look at men as the ridiculous human beings that they most times are. So, yeah, that interview was cool, and it's big. I'm humbled that so many opportunities are coming in this vein, and there are things that I'm working on now that I just ask you to pray for me that they come to fruition, because it will mean that I move up in the game in terms of doing more TV stuff and doing, you know, more interviews and documentaries and things like that. So yeah, pray for me, pray for me. Anyway, also, we went to go and watch Black Panther. I forgot to announce it last week that, you know, we were going to go and see Black Panther again at Plex. And quite a few people came through. It was great. I would just prefer next time, guys. I love you a lot, but please don't fucking speak when the film is on. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. I know that you might have seen it a few times, but other people might not have. And the whole point of it is that we're trying to pay attention to the thing, and we're missing a lot because you're there cackling. So please, that's just the friendly note. So I'm going to organize another screening for another film, and I just want you all to bear that in mind. If you're going to come, like, please act accordingly. So yeah, anyway, we went to go and see Black Panther. Again, we went to go and see it in 3D, and I have to be honest, like, 3D was a distraction for me. It was so annoying, and maybe because we were sitting very close to the screen, I don't know, but it was just making my eyes do higgy hugger. I didn't like it. But I picked up so much that I didn't pick up the first time from watching the film. It was utterly beautiful, but I obviously noticed that this time, more so than the first time, that the accents that they were putting on were extremely wild. I wrote this on Twitter, by the way. Anyway, yeah. So we went to go and see Black Panther, and would you believe my shock when I realized that the woman who interviewed me for my BBC World interview, she was the same person that announces T'Chaka's death. T'Challa's father. She announces T'Challa's father's death to T'Chaka in the film. And I was like, guys, this is an omen. This is an omen that I'm obviously going to be in Black Panther 2. Like, get ready. And I'm going to get my abs set. Like, when I tell you that my body is going to be set good like the ice in a freezer, boy, like, I'm going to have abs. I'm going to have muscles just going doom, 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 doom. And I'm going to show up as a villain. And I want those gold teeth caps that Killmonger had, because I think they're so hot. Like, I really want them. I really want them on my teeth, just so I smile and they just go bing. So I'm going to rock up as a villain. I'm going to have those gold bits in my teeth. My abs are just going to be like ging, 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 ging. And I'm going to be oiled up, and I'm going to fight Okoye. She's going to beat my ass, but I am going to be so honored to have been fucked up by General Okoye. I can't wait. And I'm just going to be like swinging, because she says guns. Ugh, so primitive. So she's going to have a spear, and so I can't have a spear. So I'm going to have a gun. And because I'm Kalechnikov, I'm going to have that. You get me? I'm going to like be spinning my AK, and then she's going to beat my ass, and I'm going to accept it like a baby girl. So this is my pitch, Ryan Coogler, if you're listening. I don't know why you'd ever be listening to SYM, but should you be listening, I need... let me say that again. I need to be a villain in Black Panther 2. I'm ready. I have the muscles for it. And we don't see enough black women with muscles on TV fighting. I will start... I don't know, any martial arts class you want me to start, I've started it yesterday, fam. Let me just smell that set. That's all I want to do. I just want to smell the set. That's, honestly, I'm ready. My soul is so ready to do this. So yeah, that's just my 1 degree of separation from Black Panther, and I hope you appreciated it. So I'm just going to get right into the tarot for this week. Now, what's slightly different is that I brought a different tarot deck this week. It's one that I've been playing with, and this is actually my personal tarot deck. So I've got one that I use when I'm doing like readings and bits for like friends and family, and then because they sometimes have to touch it, and I don't want people to touch the one that I use for myself. Like, I'm very protective of like my altar that I have at home. Like, my altar is by my bedside and stuff, and I just don't like any other energies going like near it. And that's the same thing with the cards. Like, I have the Rider-Waite deck, which is like the traditional well-known deck, the most popular deck. That's the one that I use for other people because the imagery is traditional. It's easy to Google. So I use that so people can go and look it up later and things like that. But the one that I use for myself personally is one called the Wanderer's Tarot. And I like it because it's like really, really sexy. It's almost like slate, and it's like is the version I've got is all black and the drawings are in white. It looks like white chalk. And it's really, really cool. And it challenges my intuition because it doesn't have any of the traditional drawings. So, instead of like cups, coins, things like that, swords, they have in this one stones, stones, feathers, and knives are the ones that you have in this one, if I'm correct. Stones, feathers, knives are the ones that you have in this, and moons. So moons represents cups, stones represents pentacles, knives represents swords, and feathers represents wands. So they've switched it up a bit. And because none of the images are traditional, it makes me have to use my intuition, not what I've been told by all of these books about tarot. I have to use my intuition to interpret what is in front of me. So I really, really like what it does for me. So this week, I pulled the 5 of stones. The 5 of stones. I'm just going to show that. So it's very different to the traditional deck because it refers really to the 5 of pentacles. And the 5 of pentacles has the drawing of homeless. Well, we assume that they're homeless or like, they are traveling in the snow and it's like the weather's really bad and they're covered in like shawls and you can tell that they're freezing and they walk past a glass pane. If I'm correct, they walk past a church window, a glass colourful pane, painted glass, and they're suffering in contrast to the beautiful kind of ornamented kind of windows. Makes you think about there's that juxtaposition of beauty and lack. And usually that card is representing more the poverty that you think is in place. It's a poverty that you've imagined almost. So that's important when I look at this card as well, because this card is very, very bleak. It's black, everything's black. And then you've got the drawings, almost like we're in space, with the 5 stones scattered around. And the 5 stones are of all different shapes. And they've got 4 around and 1 in the middle. Now, this card, when I was looking at it and when I initially read the book for the Wanderer's Tarot, it makes me think about what I'm currently in as a situation. And I don't know if it'll resonate with any of you, in that so many opportunities are coming my way, but is to be careful of the ones that appear to be offering you things and they're offering you fuck all. Like they make it sound so exciting, like, oh my God, this is so great. Like you'll be doing this and you'll be doing this, but we're actually not going to give you this. So it's a time for everyone really to just be very, very careful about contracts. If you're entering into contracts, contractual agreements about anything, whether it's a house, whether it's a home, whether it's even a marriage, be very sure of the terms of your agreement. Be very, very sure of it, because this is a time where people will try to come to you with things that seem too good to be true. And remember what we're always saying: if it's too good to be true, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. Like, think very carefully. And that's no one trying to rain on your parade, because I think if a friend who's close to you said this same thing to you, you'd be like, you just don't want me to succeed. Wow, haters everywhere, snakes everywhere. But this isn't it. Like, if for the fact that I'm also saying it is something that we need to be very, very careful of. Like, I found that recently, a lot of people are like, oh, I want you to come and be on my show. Oh, I want you to do this. I want you to do that. And I'm noticing that at no point are they saying, oh, in remuneration, we'll be paying you this much, or we'll be doing this much. And, different companies are contacting me and saying, oh, we'd like you to post this and do this. And I've had a few of them come through and they've offered me such meager amounts. And so I've had to go back to them and say, actually, that's not my rate. This is my rate. And they're like, oh, okay, fine. I'm thinking, what do you mean? Okay, fine. So if I'd never asked, you would have just palmed me off with the first thing. Mad. And then I have a lot of white women as well sending me emails like, oh my God, it's so amazing what you do. I'd love to collaborate with you in some sense. You're so wonderful, so wonderful. Anyway, we're doing this event and we don't plan to, pay you for your services, but would you donate your classes, or would you in fact come and teach some workshops and do this and do that? But yeah, we won't be paying you. And that sums up my issue when I interact with a lot of white women, in that they claim to love me up and down and sideways, but when it's time to place value, to place that currency on my worth, suddenly everyone starts moving mad and they start acting like, I don't know, like I'm all-purpose seasoning or something, and they start running from me. It's a lot, and I don't appreciate it. So during this time, I'm just being very, very careful about what I'm doing. And I'm blessed to kind of know people who it's their actual job to figure out what my rate should actually be within this business. And although we're not working explicitly professionally together, they are more than willing to like give me advice and say, Nabi, don't accept that. Like, don't accept that. That's not the rate that you should be charging for where your platform is currently at. So I appreciate that. And I'm looking to have someone more permanently that can negotiate these things for me. And that's why I'm working towards building my platform. And so Instagram can stop disrespecting me with telling me to tell people to go to bio, link in bio. I too want to be able to swipe up, God damn it. But that's for another day. So yeah, 5 of stones, as we've got it here, 5 of stones, aka 5 of pentacles. The lack that you feel that you have in your life, the lack of finances or whatever it might be, whatever wealth that you think that you lack in your life, don't, because of that illusion of lack, start taking things that aren't going to serve you well. Don't do it to yourself. Even if it's a relationship, don't feel like because maybe no one can ever live up to my standards, so let me just go out with this guy or this girl. Like, don't do it to yourself. It's just going to be a waste of your time in the long run. Stick to your standards. You know what you are worth, and everything has worth, just not everybody sees it. Same thing as everything has beauty, just not everybody sees it. If someone doesn't see your worth, that is their own personal problem. But you cannot now come and lie down on the floor so people can start stepping on your head. Yeah. So value yourself. Value yourself. This is one that I'm sharing with you all, but it's also a personal drag to me. I've realized just throughout my career how I've undersold myself for the fear of rejection. I think oftentimes that's actually what it is. A fear of rejection means that you sell yourself for less than you are worth because, oh my God, what if I ask for what I feel like I'm truly worth? And they say, ha ha ha, whatever. But you know what? For everyone that says, ha ha ha, there'll be someone who says, yeah, I appreciate that. Here's your money, or here's your things. They will give you the things that belong to you. They will give it to you as long as you know that you deserve it and you go out there and you claim what's yours. So that's the bit for the tarot this week. That's that bit. So we're going to move into Share Your Magnificence. So Share Your Magnificence. First of all, I want to big up Easy Wraps. I'm going to tag them and put the Twitter, Instagram handle. Easy Wraps are the designers of this head wrap on my head that if you're listening, you won't see it, but they're the designers of this head wrap on my head. It's so fucking beautiful. Now, I feel like I need to make a point in that nobody pays me to say any of the things that I say. I mean, in the next week or so, people are going to start paying me for posts and stuff, not on the podcast, but like on Instagram and Twitter and that. Like, people are. I'm deciding that I should accept this now and actually monetize some areas of my platform, but I will still be the same person. So anyway, Easy Wraps, nah. I just appreciate how glorious this head wrap is. You know why? Because most times when you go to the shop here and you buy African print material, or this the prints that I'm talking about, the printed material, you buy it. It's so stiff and both sides are obviously the same. So when you wrap it, sometimes it can take a lot of moisture out of your hair. So you've got this beautiful head wrap on, but meantime, your hair is screaming like, I can't breathe. Give us free. Like, your hair just wants to escape because it doesn't like what you're doing to it. So the beauty of these head wraps is that on the other side is a silky material. I think it's silk or maybe it's satin, but there's a material on the other side that's really, really silky and helps you to retain the moisture in your hair. And it just feels nice and soft on your head. So I've been wearing it quite a bit. I wore it to the Black Panther viewing as well. They didn't ask me to actually post this. I just feel like I'm always saying that I appreciate excellence, and this is excellent to me for them to make something that makes sense. You know, they say that necessity is the mother of all inventions, and it was necessary for my hair to have something that would look after it, like a head wrap that wouldn't dry it out of all fucking moisture. So big up yourself, Easy Wraps. So yeah, to the next share your magnificence. I'm going to big up Juliana Yazbek, or you might be Juliana. I think it's Juliana. But yeah, Juliana Yazbek, she wrote in to the podcast using the right email address, which I really, really appreciate. I love it when you guys send things to SYM@KelechiOkafor.com and nowhere else. So she writes, "Hi, Kelechi. I listen to your podcast every week. I am a huge fan of yours. You give your wisdom, wit, humor, power, and grace so freely and unconditionally. For that and much more, I thank you. I must admit, I hesitated a lot about sending this email. Too often, Black women have their struggles, their voices, their culture hijacked by non-Black women, and I did not want to be complicit in making this about me when it isn't. But I listened to my inner voice, and it said to reach out to a sister and let her know just how much she's changing the world. I come from a culture that is generally colorist and racist. All too often, I sit down with my Arab friends and we discuss colorism within our families and societies. But what we Arabs do not talk about is how that colorism extends to blatant and disgusting racism. As you said in your episode, Black Savior Complex, to the racist and colorist mind, white people are superior and Black people are inferior. The rest of the color scale goes between the two. The level of racism in the Arab world can get too disgusting to detail here. Disclaimer, of course, that is a generalization. For instance, I have my mother to thank for standing against her society in many things, especially patriarchy and white worship slash racism. I do not mean to decry every single Arab out there. Oppression and colonialism can fuck you up till your oppressor becomes your God, but that is no excuse to be disgustingly racist. But here is what I want to thank you for. As non-Black women of color, we stand to benefit so much from Black women. Black women are voicing issues of racism, white feminism, white privilege, self-hate, colonial beauty standards, and so much more. And we are receiving this empowering knowledge openly and unconditionally, therefore benefiting hugely from it. I did not love myself in the same way before I discovered Toni Morrison, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, Ava DuVernay, and you, amongst others. I did not see the truth until Black women spoke it with strength, honesty, and grace. Your generosity in how you share your knowledge and empower others benefits all women. And yet all non-Black cultures have ostracized and continue to ostracize Black people. Through my work, I'm a musician, singer-songwriter, and poet. I hope to challenge this within my culture. I hope to help Arab and non-white women to find more self-love, to free themselves of colonial white worshipping, and to have humility and respect and appreciation towards other non-white cultures. You are a gift to this world and you are changing the world. I thank you truly. That made me feel a bit emotional. Like that's the second time I've read that email. Thank you, Juliana, because although I make a point of saying I don't need any motherfucker to validate what I'm doing for it to be valid, it still touches me in the deepest way possible to know that there are sisters out there that see it, that they understand the struggle. They're not out here looking for cookies. They're just saying, boom, like I see it and I appreciate that you see it and you see me. Like even in the list of women that you mentioned me in, like even that made my eyes water because like to me, they're great people. And what I do in my little corner of the internet in no way compares to what they do. Yet I have to kind of understand that it still impacts people and people appreciate it. So thank you for appreciating me, and thank you for using your art to further the discourse that is so necessary for us as women. And as people, just generally, I appreciate you so much, Juliana. Thank you for sending that through. It means a lot to me. So I'll add Juliana's @ because to me that's magnificent, and I appreciate that you listen. So that was my second Share Your Magnificence. And my last Share Your Magnificence, and like I say, in no way least, is Naomi Kelman. Naomi Kelman has an organization that helps young people to get into Oxbridge. So that's Oxford and Cambridge University and the likes like. Let me just read her letter before I go into why this puts me in my feelings and why I appreciate it so much. Naomi says, "Hi Kelechi, I've been listening to your podcast since it launched and look forward to it every Monday. Every time you ask someone if their entire village is unwell, I laugh so hard. I also find it refreshing to hear the fire with which you can speak about things. For me, that fire often has to stay within my head, and so it's nice to be able to live vicariously through your podcast at times. I wanted to let you know about something I work on. As I know you have an interest in education amongst the many other things that you're interested in. In 2012, I founded a program called Target Oxbridge. TargetOxbridge.co.uk is the website, which supports Black, African and Caribbean students to apply to Oxford and Cambridge. We've helped 81 students to secure Oxbridge offers so far, and I was really happy to secure a last-minute expansion for this year, enabling us to help 160 students this year, up from 45 last year. The full story of the program and my motivations for setting it up and growing it are covered in this article in the iPaper. So I'll add, FYI guys, I'll give you a link to that as well. Anyway, back to the letter. Getting coverage like this has made me so excited today because it's been so hard to get positive stories about Black students in education covered in the media until very recently. Often the stories lack nuance and positivity, which often discourages Black students from applying to top universities. And so I'm hopeful that this story today will have a more encouraging effect. As a Black woman with grandparents from Jamaica, Barbados, Nigeria and England who went to Oxford, my main aim has been to offer Black students the advice and environment I wish I had when applying, and to change the narrative on who it is that gets to attend our top universities. I also worked with some of my peers recently to launch the Oxford Black Alumni Network. And that's www. I don't know why people still say that, but anyway, oxfordblackalumni.org, to keep challenging the idea that Black people don't go to places like that, because we do, and we should be going in larger numbers. I'm aware it's written quite a bit, so I hope it's of some interest. I'm hoping to be able to book onto some of your twerk classes soon once I figure out some of the clashes with my trampolining classes. Good luck with everything you're working on at the moment. I saw the clip of you on the BBC World interview. Congrats. Best wishes, Naomi Kelman. So I'm going to give you Naomi Kelman's Instagram handle in my comments. It's at Naomi _ Kelman, and the Twitter for the Target Oxbridge is at Target Oxbridge, and the Oxford Black Alumni Network is Oxford Black Alum on Twitter. Naomi, man, in fact, everyone, Juliana, Easy Rap, but all of you, just 2 slaps on that chest for the work that you are doing. Like, Naomi, big yourself up. Like, that is great fucking work. Like, even the fact that you up the motherfucking numbers by 45 this year. Like, we know that there are struggles that Black students face when they go to these universities. We do know that, but the only way it's going to change is for more of us to go there. So when I was in secondary school, to me, it just seemed so far away. I thought, me ever getting to Oxford or Cambridge? Only now am I seeing my age mates, and they were like, yeah, I went there. And I was thinking, oh, so I could have gone too. That's not to take anything away from them, because I know that they are exceptionally intelligent and they worked very, very hard to get into there. But I also know that I had the ability to maybe have gone too. But then obviously we all know that my focus was on performing arts. So after going to Brit School, I went to Liverpool Hope University, because actually, I think it was rather serendipitous how that happened. My mum said, Kelechi, I am warning you now. You must not. If I hear performing arts is what you're going to go and do at university, Kelechi, my they love to slap their lips like that. My anger will rain down upon you. I must see law in your UCAS application. So I said to my mum, okay, fine. If I can find a way to do a combined degree in law and performing arts or, theatre studies, can I go? And so I typed it into UCAS, like I wanted to do a combined degree in drama and theatre studies and law. And only 2 places came up, and one of them was Liverpool Hope University. I'd never, ever been to Liverpool before in my life, but that's how I ended up at Liverpool Hope University, because it was the only place that I could do a combined degree. And so I wonder if my mum hadn't given me that ultimatum, where I would have been. But I know that my leaning would have always been towards performing arts. Not that you can't do performing arts at Oxford or Cambridge, but you know what I mean. So anyway, Naomi, thank you so much for the work that you do, for showing and encouraging Black students to reach for everything that they want and for them to be audacious. Like, I hope that this is your mood for 2018, everybody. Be audacious. I ask that you, within yourself, and this is a note for me even as well, I ask that you tap into the spirit of white male mediocrity. There is nobody in this life that is as confident as a mediocre white man. There is nobody. A man that cannot do pim, but he's confident as fuck because this society allows for him to be so. I ask that you two find your inner mediocre white man and channel that confidence and use it to take and apply for everything that you want in this life. That is what I wish for you. And I'm glad that, Naomi, you are helping these students to find the keys to opening the doors to their own success. I appreciate you so, so much. Now we've done all the positive things. Let's move to So You Mad. So You Mad is actually quick. Like, it's a quick one because the drag has already been done for me, which I greatly, greatly appreciate. So there's a girl that I call her girl very, very loosely. She's a woman and she's a young woman, and she's a very stupid and useless individual. She goes by the name of Brianna Harmon. Brianna Harmon lied that she was raped by 3 Black men. When I read you, like, the story that I enjoyed the most about this, because I read many about it, but the story I enjoyed the most about this was written by Michael Harriot for The Root, theroot.com, and he filed it under Becky Shenanigans. But she lied. I need you to process that. She lied to the police about being raped by 3 Black men. Now, I have such an issue with white people lying that Black people did something to them that they did not do. I know that a rapper recently, I've forgotten his name, but one white rapper turned around and said, oh, his place was burgled by Black people and Black people were nowhere near. He just said, oh, he made it up because he was high. Why is it that when you're high, that is the first thing that came to your mind? But that's for another day. Anyway, this Brianna, aka Becky the Bear, decided that this was the story she was going to tell. She's from Texas, and Michael calls her the beautiful blonde Texas BeckyMonster, which I think is hilarious. Anyway, she told the police that she was raped by 3 Black men, but because she finally confessed and pleaded guilty to lying about this bitch does not need to serve a day in prison. And also the way that they've constructed it is that she's only going to do some community service, and they're going to make it so it doesn't appear on her record as a conviction, which means that in a few years she can ask for it to be sealed, so it's never ever revealed to anyone that she even ever told this lie. Like, look at what society does to protect white people. Now come and tell me that we're in a post-racial society. White women, for as long as this earth has been round, have been lying about Black people doing things to them that they did not do. Case in point, Emmett Till, that the white woman said that he whistled at her and he made sexual advances and he was killed in the most brutal way by white men, only for this bitch to turn around almost, 60, 70 years later and say, oh, it's bothered me all of my life that I lied about that. And it's only now that you're saying it, when you're on your deathbed, is when you're admitting that you lied about it. And he was killed. A young man was killed. A young black man was killed because of your lies. And there are so many other, the Scottsboro incidents. There are so many incidents of black men being killed because of the lies that white women tell. Anyway, on March 8th, 2017, the police in Texas responded to a call by Breonna Rachel Harmon, a call that Breonna Rachel Harmon was missing, and the door of her vehicle was open with her personal items scattered on the ground near her automobile. So now I just need you to take a moment to process the scenery that this fool created, because she was by herself. That's the wickedest. This prick was by herself, and she was now doing Shondaland and doing Scandal and doing How to Get Away with Pussyclat, and she was creating the scene that did not take place. So her things were scattered, and then they found her a few hours later. She walked into a church a few hours later, and she was bloodied and bruised and discombobulated, apparently, wearing nothing but her underwear. So that, again, let's take a moment to process that. So this demon, this handmaiden of Satan, hurt herself, and then she now rolled around. She now rolled around in the forest like one demented Goldilocks, hurt herself, and then she now nakeded herself. She now offed her clots, and then went into a church and said, "Oh, look, everybody, I have been assaulted. I have been raped." Wow. That is someone that is not okay. Like, she is evil beyond measure. Like, I'm always careful not to conflate these kind of things with mental illnesses, because mental illness and mental health already has so many stigmas attached to it that I don't want to say, oh yeah, she's mentally ill to have done something like that. No, sometimes you are just an evil motherfucker. And this is what this woman is. The reason I'm saying this is because imagine if a black man, and it's Texas, so there are bare black guys walking around. So imagine if a group of black guys, or even a black guy, was just walking around in Texas when the police received this call. The way that they like to apprehend you for shit that you didn't do, they would have just dragged up this man and said, "Oh, we had a report of a rape and you fit the description. What is the description?" They won't tell you height, they won't tell you nothing. They'll just, "Oh, black man." Yes. And so that's why, and what if he refused arrest? Because he's like, "I didn't do anything. I'm just coming from Bible study." Next thing you know, they've shot him down, or they've injured him greatly because of a lie that she has told. And he had nothing to do with it. He was just going home. And this is often the situation when people tell these lies. They don't think about the people that it implicates. So anyway, she did that. She said that she was kidnapped. She told the police that she was kidnapped by 3 black men wearing ski masks. And that's hilarious to me, because I don't know many black men who go skiing. But I mean, I don't know, they just had these ski masks anyway. And ski masks and gloves. So were they also wearing ski gloves, or were they like washing gloves? I need specifics next time if you're going to tell these kind of lies. Anyway, Harmon explained how the band of rapists, the band of black rapists who found her, they were obviously roaming the area looking for a white woman, like, "We need our white purity filler." And they found her. They found 18-year-old dickhead Breonna, and they dragged her out of her car into a wooded area, and they gang raped her. Now, this is interesting, that she said that they gang raped her, because like there are ways to check for these things. So anyway, somehow blonde Breonna, with the strength of 1,000 bears, she fought all 3 of them off, even though they had knives and they were attacking her. She somehow miraculously fought them all like a ninja and escaped. She fled to the church, and she only had a few scratches on her legs. And she told the story to the officers, who began searching for, obviously the African rape squad. But before they could attack another woman. Anyway, the alleged rape was told to her mother. So her mom now jumps on Facebook. Her mom jumps on Facebook and writes the following post. "This is going to be a brutally honest post. Today, my daughter, Breonna Harmon Talbot, was taken by force by 3 black men. 2 raped her, and she is cut head to toe by a knife. They took her engagement ring, her class ring, her earrings, her baby T necklace, everything she had on, She was able to run, and she ran into a church, bleeding from head to toe with no pants on. Someone had to have saw something. This town is small. If anyone, anything, if you hear anything, please call the Denison Police Department. So, even though no one heard anything because there was nothing to hear, the white supremacists jumped online and they were like, we've been telling y'all they want to rape our women and kill our wives. We need to form, we need to form like a white mafia. Arr. Oh, you mean like the Ku Klux Klan that you've already formed, you dickheads, pricks. Fools, always creating urgency where there is none. You've imagined it all. We need to speak about the pathological nature of the hypersexualization that white women inflict upon black men. They inflict it on white and black women too, but that's, right now we're talking about black men and how white women view black men as these like sexual monsters, these beasts that they're just coming to just grab you and throw you over their shoulder and have their way with you. That's why I had such a problem with that. I think it was it LeBron James and Heidi Klum? I might be wrong, but there was an image of LeBron James, if I'm correct, and he had this blonde woman on his shoulder. I can't remember which magazine it was for. I want to say Esquire, but I could be wrong. And that imagery was akin to like not Godzilla, like I think it's Godzilla, or just like a gorilla that's managed to, because Godzilla was like a dragon thing, but he managed to, King Kong, that's it, King Kong. So he's grabbed this white woman and he's flung her over his shoulder to have his way with her because, white women and they're so fragile. Gosh, we've got to catch them. So I didn't like that imagery on that magazine cover. It really, really bothered me. But there's this obsession with like, whenever these type of white women want to create stories, they're just like, and all of these black men raped me. Do you know, like, there's a genre for this on porn sites? That means for there to be a genre for it, that means that there are people who are searching for it, who want it. So you want to see that. And that bothers me. Like, it really, really bothers me. I know that some white men, like I said, cuckolds, they actually pay black men to come and pretend to like ravage their wives. Like they're going to actually like sleep with their wives. They have sex with their wives. And then the white men sit there and they watch and they're just like, no. But that's part of the sexual fantasy of it all. It's so weird. But the fact that she would lie in this way and she would continue in her lies. And also I like that she made herself the heroine in her story. I mean, kudos to you, sis. I believe that we should all be the heroes of our own story, but you went all the way left with this one. So, the police investigated. They wondered why her bruises weren't consistent with a violent knife attack. But even more so, when she was examined by the people who examined for these sort of assaults, they said that nothing about her body, or there was no physical evidence of a sexual assault of any sort, not even the type that she described, just of any sort whatsoever. So after the police questioned black men in the area, and you know that questioning would have been wild as well, they were unable to find this three musketeers, these three muskerapes. They were these three rapesketeers. They were unable to find them. So they started thinking, could it be possible that a white woman is lying? I mean, it's a day ending with Y, so I would believe so. She finally admitted that she had lied, and she lied because she was upset that she'd recently broken up with her boyfriend and she, wanted some sympathy. So you didn't want sympathy like, my head hurts. I might be pregnant, which is terrible in itself. But you went all the way to, I've been raped by 3 black men. It's the town that Brianna's from. Both she, her mum, and all the other people in that town are clearly all mad. They are mad and they have nobody to tell them. I don't know if it's something to do with their water or whatever, but they're all very, very mad. She then thought to herself, I need to make this believable. And she saw that her mum might be upset about her ripping her jeans. So she decided to just take it a step further and cut herself and hurt herself to make it believable. And that's how she came up with the story of the rapist black men. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Like, she, after doing all of that, will face no prison time. There's nothing that will be done to her. She will just get on with living her merry life. And white women get this all of the time. I remember the white girl in this country at uni that stabbed her boyfriend, and the judge decided that they weren't going to convict her of anything because, they don't want to ruin her future, which is rich considering all the futures of Black and Asian people that they have ruined that didn't even deserve it. But it's funny that they suddenly realize that what they claim is a rehabilitative space, these prisons, are actually punitive in nature, and they don't want to subject their precious little white girls to it. So that's, they're middle class white girls, because the working class white girls is iffy. But the middle class white girls, oh no, we could never do that to them, even though they're going around stabbing their boyfriends. But that's for another day. So anyway, Brianna, you're a dickhead. And that's all I wanted to say, really, for So You Mad. I was briefly going to talk about Neo's wife, that fool that said, it's a shame that my son didn't get my Hawaiian silky hair. And again, it's that colorism. It's that anti-blackness, because she's part Black. It's that anti-blackness that people have so deeply ingrained within them, where you can give birth to a beautiful, beautiful boy, and all you see is that, he doesn't have like soft, silky hair like me. Oh no. And then she says, when she was approached about her comment, because people dragged her on Instagram, and that's also the effrontery of it. Like, she posted the picture of her son on Instagram with us mainly able to see the top of his head, and she said, my sister's always saying it's a shame that my son didn't get our Hawaiian silky hair. You're shaming your child on the internet because he doesn't have a hair type that you would prefer. So people dragged her accordingly, but she now jumped up and said, oh no, the real issue is that Black women are just jealous when Black men marry outside of their race. But fam, you're still part Black, so you're not out of the race, you dickhead. But this is how people are just so confused, and they see themselves as better because they've decided so, and white supremacy has led them to believe so. I just hope that maybe someone takes that child away from her, because I can only imagine the emotional trauma that the child will be subjected to in its formative years because of her hatred, her self-hatred, and her self-loathing, and her deeply ingrained anti-Blackness towards self and others. And that's what I'm going to say about that dumb prick. Anyway, moving finally to Straw of the Week, aka Suck Your Mum. This week's Suck Your Mum goes out to Helen Grant. Helen Grant is a waste man because she is a I'm calling her a waste man. I'm not even going to be nice and call her a waste girl. She's just a waste man because I think that's a collective universal term. She's a complex because that's my word of the month. I can't stand women like her because she's a Black person who's a conservative. That's not my issue. It's just that there are many reasons that people decide to be Tory. That's fine. But when it comes to the more social aspects, I just don't understand how you could be. I just don't understand how you could be Black and be like, yeah, boom, I agree with what the Tories are doing. But anyway, she's a Tory MP. And she wrote the following letter to Dawn Butler. Dawn Butler is the Labour MP for Brent Central, and she's a baby girl. She wrote the letter to her, and she said, Dawn Butler urgently needs to reconsider her appointment of Monroe Bergdorf. The kind of language Bergdorf has used has no place in public life and ought to be condemned by all of those who are serious about promoting equality. Now, the letter, that was the tweet that she attached with the letter. The letter actually says, Dear Dawn, I'm writing to you to express my concern regarding your appointment of Monroe Bergdorf as an advisor on equality issues and to urge you to reconsider. You'll be well aware of Monroe's controversial comments in the past, which saw her sacked from L'Oreal, including stating that the entire existence of white people is drenched in racism. Of white people, she stated, your existence, privilege, and success as a race is drenched in racism. At the time, L'Oreal released a statement which outlined how the company supports diversity, tolerance towards all people, irrespective of their race, background, gender, and religion, and that Bergdorf's comments are at odds with their values. This is clearly concerning language and does nothing for community cohesion. Since her appointment as an advisor to you on equality issues, further deeply concerning comments have come to light, including describing gay conservative activists as a special kind of dickhead, claiming suffragettes were white supremacists, claiming white people are socially conditioned to be racist. There really is no excuse for these abhorrent slurs, and fundamentally they damage the campaign to promote equality and diversity across public life. When Jeremy Corbyn was elected Labour leader, he promised a kinder politics, yet it seems every day we see some new example of abuse from the Labour Party. The kind of language Bergdorf has used has no place in public life and ought to be condemned by all of those who are serious about promoting equality. I urge you to reconsider your appointment of Monroe Bergdorf in light of these comments, and we'll be pleased to meet with you to discuss further how we can really progress the cause of equalities. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Yours sincerely, Helen Grant, MP. This is why I can't be an MP, and I'm going to tell you straight up, because I've considered it for a while. I've sat down and thought to myself, Kelechi, when will you marry? No, that's a joke. I've had to sit down and say to myself, like, what are you doing, fam? What are you doing? What are you going to do with your career? And I've considered, because of the passion that I have for things within society, I thought, maybe I'll start off as a councillor for Southwark, Peckham sides, or Bermondsey, and then build from there and hopefully become an MP. But, I've realised after reading things like this that I could never become an MP, because how she said to Dawn Butler there, we can meet up to further discuss this. I'll agree to that meet up, and I'll roll up into the place and I'll backhand her. I'll give her a dirty slap and I'll say, thank you for your time. And I'll walk out. That's it. That's the meeting done. Because I don't have the wherewithal to play these political games that you pussies like to play. Helen Grant, aka Waist Girl, there is no number of times in this universe that you can use the word equality and diversity and somehow it magically turns into what you want it to turn into. Helen Grant is the kind of house nigger, and I don't tend to use the N-word regularly, but she's the house Negro, the kind that, because she lives in Massa's house, she will fight tooth and nail to protect everything that Massa has built. That's what she's doing here. Now, she is the MP for Maidstone, Kent, if I'm not mistaken. And I feel like that area is very, very Tory, and they feel like they've progressed because they voted in a black woman. I think she's mixed race, but I don't know. They voted in a black woman, so they feel like, yep, we've done our bit. But the thing is, you voted in a demon. She's a demon, and because you feel like you're ticking boxes because she's black, it makes it okay. Let me just read that list to you again, because I'm still confused as to what Monroe Bergdorf said that is incorrect and is abhorrent and is a slur. I didn't hear it. These were the 3 points that she said came up recently of Monroe Bergdorf. Describing gay conservative activists as a special kind of dickhead. Are they not? I don't understand how you can be a gay conservative activist. Like, everything that I feel like the Conservative Party is doing undermines your lived experience, your lived existence. Like, they are undermining you every day. Like, you're out there saying that you're a conservative. Like, care? Huh? What? Nah. So, again, I agree. Second point, claiming that suffragettes were white supremacists. Yeah, because in this year where it's like 100 years of women's votes, rare, we're not talking about the actual women that got their votes in the first place. We're not talking about the fact that Emmeline Pankhurst and all of them they weren't voting for black women. They didn't see black women as equal or even human. They were voting in their own interests. And that is the way that white feminism has fucking remained. It's all been in the interest of white middle class women. And this is why we have intersectional feminism, because it looks at the cross sections of society and how we live and navigate our own feminisms, because we can't exist within their structure. This is the whole reason. So again, correct. Third point, claiming white people are socially conditioned to be racist. Where is the lie? Where is the lie? I say this with all of everything within me. If you know a white person who will look you in your eye and go, I'm not racist, I implore you to turn around now and run as fast as you can. Run and run fast and never look back lest you turn into a pillar of motherfucking salt, because I tell you, they will not use that salt to season their food. So you just keep on running, boo. The reason I say that is because you cannot have grown up in Europe or within this Western world, Europe, America. You cannot have grown up there as a white person and not have been conditioned to think that you are superior to others. Now, that is not something that you just let go of. You don't just shed it. You don't shed it because it's ingrained so deeply into every single crevice of your being that it doesn't matter if you're in a motherfucking interracial relationship. You have not broken down the structures of racism because you're fucking someone of another race. You have not done that until you start to do the work in yourself and think about and sit down with yourself and think, what are the ways in which I perpetuate this racism, or how do I uphold this structure of white supremacy in my life and in my environment? If you're not doing the work to do those things, you cannot dare to say, oh, I'm not racist. And I don't think no white person can truly ever say I'm not racist, because as long as you continue to benefit from the structure, then it is what it is, homie. It really is. And FYI, that's why I can't stand YouTube couples. So please do not tag me in videos of interracial YouTube couples, because I will make a voodoo doll out of you and I will stab it and stab it and stab it. Don't ever fucking tag me in those stupid videos, because I don't like any of them. Anyway, back to the story at hand. So Helen Grant is a dickhead because she listed things. Imagine at your big age, you write a letter and you're an MP. You write a letter with your crusty fingers and you put bullet points, and all of the bullet points undermine you and your premise, because all of them speak truth to existence. The fact that these things are part of this structure, and you might not know, your internet signal might be faulty all the way in Maidstone, Kent, so you don't get the update that this is something that people are experiencing. So you feel like, oh, I'm just going to get away with it and I can do what I want. And, I feel this way. And so therefore, Dawn Butler needs to do what I've said. Dawn Butler does not need to do a damn thing. Dawn Butler can do what she likes. And she's elected, she's appointed Monroe Bergdorf, and I'm with it. And so many other people are with it. So mind your business and face your motherfucking front, okay? That's what more MPs need to be doing. Where's Harriet Harman to appoint me and give me a role within Southwark? That's what we really need to be petitioning for. Put more of us, let more black people have spaces and platforms to impact change in terms of policies. That's what we need. If we can't impact policies, then how can we affect change? Helen Grant, this straw is for you. I don't know how you want to use it. If you want to run up to one of the castles that are close to you in your area of Kent, if you want to stand on the highest tower and take your mother with you and to just suck her vigorously dry, that's what I ask of you. Don't ask anything of Dawn Butler. I want to send you a letter personally to say, dear Helen Grant, I have gifted you this straw within this pack because I would like you to use it to suck your mother dry, and maybe that will add some kind of sustenance to your common sense, because right now you lack it. And that's it. That's it for this week. Thank you so much for listening to SYM, officially known as Say Your Mind, unofficially known as What? Suck Your Mum. It's been wonderful chatting with you all. I wish you a wonderful week. You can follow me on @Kolechnikov. More of you, please follow me on Instagram, because I need to up my followers apparently. So help me with that. Follow me on @Kolechnikov or @SayYourMindPod. And please, #Say Your Mind Pod. Tell me what you thought of this week's episode, and keep the conversation going. I will tag everyone that I've spoken about. I'll add them in the caption so you can follow them and show them some love. And like I said, for the 5 of Pentacles, don't let a fear of lack, an illusion of lack, push you into agreements that you do not need to be involved in. Don't do it to yourself, baby boys and baby girls and everybody around those spheres. I appreciate you all, and I wish you a wonderful week. 2 slaps on your chest, and I'll catch you in a bit. Peace.
It's the Benz Brunani womanist. Baby boys, baby girls, you need to hear this. If you sit down, receive this realness. Make sure your cup's ready for the tea, we are go sip it, yo. Hard time scrolling for your long shorts. You might learn something you never know. Collect you fine, and she's one of a kind. Don't say you're mine, say you're mine.